Welcome, everyone, to episode 73 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin, and I'm here with Doug and Owen. And today we are talking about Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. But first, as always, we can talk about what we watched this past week. Doug, would you like to get us started in your silly Heat jersey?
It's not silly.
And your ridiculous outfit.
Actually, here's the thing. I got this as a gift. I hate this jersey.
okay.
I hate this jersey. I do not like this shirt.
Well,
This is
don't
like my
say
least favorite
that.
colorway jersey.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I'm wearing it. Like it's not like
It's
you
like
know.
those like yogurt swirls.
No, I have another colorway. It's I don't know if it's the year after or before, but it's like the one with like all of the different letters are from the different eras.
I don't like that one.
Oh, I like that one.
Is that one? Is it the black one?
No, it's white. Or I mean, there might be a black version.
There's a black version as well. Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What do you watch?
I watched. Oh God, what did I watch?
Jack.
I
shit.
watched 7 days from.
Oh.
Hello.
He's doing the math.
Doug is
Sorry.
doing math on the pod, live on the pod. trying to
I
figure
watched.
out.
Okay, I watched some shorts, some kind of like underground shorts, which were pretty neat. There's this filmmaker. His name's Francis. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Francis Alice, maybe. He's like a performance
You want me
artist
to
and
look it up and
filmmaker.
help you out? Or?
No.
I can get those little like YouTube like things.
I watched
like,
a couple.
tell me how
I
to
watched a
say it.
couple of his shorts, which are cool. I watched Ten Skies, directed by James Benning, and I'm reading.
Oh yeah.
I'm reading this book. I forgot the author's name, but I'm reading this book, which is like like super long form criticism of Ten Skies, which is really really good so far. It's written by Erica.
Oh, like the
Balton.
10 Skies book.
Yeah, the Ten Skies book. It's
Yeah.
it's really really good so far. And also, James Benning is important American filmmaker. If you don't know, Owen's a big fan.
Yeah, I'll get into that in my thing.
I rewatched The Exorcism.
yeah.
Still good. I like that movie. It's good. Nobody else likes it. It's holding on to that 1.9 average rating.
I was kind of curious.
It moved up and then it went back down.
Yeah, was that a 2 for a second?
I saw that it went back down to 1.9. I was curious to see if it would go even lower, but I think maybe 1.9 is probably where it lands.
Which is kind of fucked.
I listened to a panel that Film Comment hosted with some experimental like avant-garde like filmmakers and critics were on the panel. It's interesting to like call it like that, but Amy Taubin was on it. She was like the biggest name that was part of it. But like a big part of the panel was talking about like how they don't like the term avant-garde or experimental, so it's like it's hard, but it's you have to communicate something. And after that they talked a little bit about wavelength because it's a big piece. And so I rewatched Wavelength
and
after
Amy's
watching
in
that
it.
panel.
So.
And Amy's in it.
That makes sense.
And
I thought you were building up for something that was like an exorcism thing. I didn't realize.
No.
Amy Taubin was in The Exorcism.
And then of course I watched Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1.
Right. Which we will get to in a couple minutes. But
Yes.
first, Owen, what did you
Okay.
watch?
I watched a bunch of stuff, so I'm gonna just like do like a scattered version of it.
Yeah.
I watched a couple Bennings, like Doug was talking about. I watched it's a more recent film from him. It came in 2018. It's called L. Cohen or Leonard Cohen. It's the like letterbox description is basically a view of an Oregon farm field, and a solar eclipse happens, and then a Leonard Cohen song plays. Very, very good. It's a one single shot. It lasts like 48 minutes, and you have it's like very obviously because it's Benning, it's really well composed and stuff. But the actual event of the like eclipse is like insane, and it's something that like you could do in a special effect, but knowing like this is like a real moment captured via camera is like really magical. And basically like nothing happens for 20 minutes and you're just kind of hearing sounds, and then all of a sudden like the world like shuts off. It's insane. Very cool.
That's
film.
a digital piece, right?
I think so. It's 2018. I mean, I think so. I assume so.
Okay.
But it's that isn't. Yeah, it's crazy. I went back to watch the United States of America, which is a 70s Benning. And I always am interesting thinking about like Benning and his periods because of Linklater's It's Impossible to Learn to Plow film, which came out like not like so long ago, but it came out in a period where he was inspired by Benning, but like 10 Skies hadn't even came out yet. Like it's a period in Benning like where he had like he's made so many films since then, and he's kind of existed for so long in the space, but he in his 70s kind of 80s period, he made a few films, but he definitely has made more films as he's gotten more popular, and the access and ability to make films is easier. He's able to kind of make more stuff. So the United States of America is pretty interesting. It's basically the camera is in like the back seat of the car, and James Benning and Betty Gordon are just driving the car around the country, and it like fades in and out like at different sections of them in the country and stuff like that. Really cool, like early Benning piece where you kind of see like some kind of ideas beginning and stuff. It's not my favorite, but I think it is like kind of an essential one to watch, and maybe one that you get more out of after seeing some of his other things and kind of seeing the beginnings of all of that. I watched Enemy of the State, the Tony Scott film, which I think is fantastic. I watched what's the Chris Pine one last night, Unstoppable.
Full Man.
No. The Tony Scott film Unstoppable. I think Enemy of the State is fantastic. It's Will Smith, one of the rare Will Smith movies that are like really, really good, as well as his performance being good, but the film itself being really great. That movie is really terrific. Also with Gene Hackman, who's always great. Then I was like really in like a Will Smith mood, so I watched Men in Black, which is fun. Not like your favorite movie ever, but I think Will Smith and what's his name is really great.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones he's great actor. I watched The Wagon Master. It's a 50s Ford film, stunning film that one of my takeaways, it's not a huge takeaway, but it kind of, we'll talk about that a little more in the Horizon piece, but there's really great. I mean, it's Ford, so there's all this stuff that's kind of Ford that's great about it. But specifically for Wagon Master, there's these lovely like little like patches of water or like rivers or whatever. There's this great kind of reflections of the sun in the water that when watching Horizon, I was reminded more a little bit of that. I just think that's such a beautiful kind of thing in film. Was like I love the kind of sun in the water. And then I watched Colorado Territory, which is a Walsh film from '49, which has some really fun like train set action set piece stuff. Really cool film.
Bro is on a train like run here.
I watched Gladiator because my mom wanted to watch Gladiator because I haven't seen Gladiator before, and the sequel's coming up, and I've been excited for the sequel, but I never saw the original movie. I think it's a good Scott. It's a weaker Scott for me. I think it does kind of feel like an early 2000s like studio film, but a good one, definitely a good one. There's some really great performances. Richard Harris, who like he's obviously like a legendary film actor. I haven't seen him in a bunch of stuff. I kind of know him personally from those first two Harry Potter movies before his ultimately passing, and he doesn't end up being the other ones. I know he's in a bunch of other stuff, but I think he has one of the best like voices in acting. He's so good in Gladiator, and obviously then you get Oliver Reed later. Yeah. Some really great legendary actors.
I haven't seen
pretty good
in a long time.
Gladiator, yeah. I would definitely watch it before the sequel, like refresh your mind. It's a good movie.
I know that it's like a favorite. It's like one of his more popular movies and like acclaimed movies. But I know that some like real Scott autorists think it's a film.
No, I know we looked at a list a while back. I was trying to find it after watching the thing. I'll have to look after this, but I think it's good. It's not, again, it's lower on my list, but I think it's like I haven't seen a Scott movie that I don't like. I want to watch Thelma and Louise soon.
Great movie.
I think that's going to be up there for me. That just looks fantastic. But yeah, it was always Gladiator. It was always one that I like wasn't like crazy about. Like I know like I haven't seen The Martian, and that seems like even like probably like
That looks like a
lower.
bad
Yeah, no,
movie.
it's
I read
not.
that book, and it's a bad
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
So.
Like I'm not crazy about that. There's some other Scott movies that I want to check out that I think are good. But I mean I think really Scott's a really great director. I just think it is funny that I understand why Gladiator is so big, but it is funny that out of like his whole filmography, that's one of the big ones. Even though I think it's good, it makes sense because it's like kind of that big studio movie, but it is just funny comparing it to his filmography.
My favorite.
I watched Horizon. I watched another Benning film called Small Roads. That's another later Benning. It's 2011. Really great. Kind of what you come to expect from Benning after seeing a bunch of them. It's an interesting piece to come in 2011 because it kind of feels it's very similar to like a lot of his other works, but it's just you kind of get the sense of like him being like at this like master state of just like I don't know. It's an interesting piece that I think I'd like to come back to a lot because I think it's like kind of perfect, but also I don't know. I think he's kind of done it before, so I'm not sure how I feel about it entirely. Um, and I watched the Oxbow Incident, which is a 40s like western, which I wasn't crazy about. I wanted to like it more. I think like the compositions and like the overall like framing of the people is really interesting. Like I think the blocking in terms of like where everyone is placed in all the images is fun, but the overall like everything else is kind of boring. It's like a 70-minute like little like uh thing going on, but it's not like that crazy. I wasn't crazy about it. Yeah, and then I watched Unstoppable, and that was pretty much my week.
Nice. I'm kind of in my TV era currently. Boo. But I have some
Well,
movies.
I mean,
What?
fitting.
Is it? Oh right, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, of course. Right. Sorry, I completely forgot that Horizon is just three episodes of TV. We'll get there. I watched Thelma like right after we recorded the podcast last week. New release that we're not going to talk about on the podcast. It's cute.
It's a
People
movie
love
about
it.
Doug.
People love it. I thought it was cute.
Calm down.
I'm not
Is there
like
something about Tom Cruise in that movie?
there's a lot of Tom Cruise in that movie.
Because
Like
I saw
kind of
something
the
on
whole
Twitter and it was
movie
like
is about
it
Tom.
was about like unemployed 20-something who loves Tom Cruise. Is like that's the movie. What's the movie?
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's
Someone
like a
said
character. There's like a character in the movie who is like this guy in his 20s who is just like totally lost and like he
Loves
doesn't
Tom
have any
Cruise.
direction or purpose in life except for taking care of his grandma.
And he looks like
It's a
Doug.
cute movie. It made me cry. It made me laugh. Like people in my theater
That
were
guy's gonna
laughing
be
a
in
lot.
Gladiator too.
Yeah, he's great. I thought he was really good.
Fred.
I thought June Squibb as well, who plays the titular
From the
Thelma,
Fred
was
movie.
really good as well. Like I don't know, it's a cute movie, but I don't think I'd ever.
Does she
watch
do
it
any
again.
train action set pieces?
She rolls over the hood of a car, I think. Actually, no, that's not true. She rolls over a bed. She like
Well,
gets she
that's
like
not the
gets
same thing at all.
well, like she like gets on her side and like lifts herself up onto a bed and then does
Mhm.
like a full roll and then stands up on the bed. It's very intense. She also walks up a set of stairs, like a staircase. It's pretty intense. I mean, you'd have to listen. She's like a 90-year-old woman. Okay, these things are very.
Does she know her on stunts?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a lot out there. She rides one of those.
What is the like
she
the
rides one of those like
marketplace or
what's the cart called? Like with the like you know what I mean? Like when old people have like those like the carts that it's like a scooter, but I guess it's like a scooter with a cart. You know what I mean? It's that thing. Anyway, she rides the scooter around. I don't know if she does the scooter.
I don't know what it is, but it gets you far. I'll tell you.
There's some pretty I mean that's kind of the plot of the movie is how
yeah.
far you could get on the scooter. Actually, it's like the whole plot of the movie. She runs away using the scooter, and they're trying to find her. Anyway, it's
been there.
I watched On the Beach at Night Alone, my first Hong Sang-soo movie, which people have recommended to me a lot. Kind of like a director who I've been told I'd be into based on my other interests. And they were right. I mean, I really liked it.
Is that an early or late Hong Sang? Like when did that come out?
It's new. It came out in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like pretty new. I don't honestly know when. I haven't really done a deep dive.
No, that's pretty modern. He's been making movies since the early
movies.
90s.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. I kind of want to rewatch it and probably would like it more if I did. It's like kind of a I saw a lot of people say this, which is like it's kind of like the perfect like his movies are kind of like perfect to watch before you go to bed because they're so like soothing, like they're so like relaxing. But it's like actually being tired while watching one probably didn't benefit me, like I was pretty exhausted and then I put it on and I was like, man, I get what people are saying. I was like, I get why I would want to fall asleep after this, but it's like kind of doesn't help that I want to fall asleep during it because I probably should have watched it like during the day when I had like energy. It was good though. I really liked it.
There's this joke online that I saw a little while ago where it's like Hong Sang-soo fans, when the movie is 45 minutes long, has no dialogue, and is and is completely out of focus. Um,
Yeah,
It's like a
I mean
Warhol. Mhm.
I need like more, like I need to watch more of his movies before I really I mean this is the first one, so we'll get there. But I watched a short film called Mr. Fuzz by our
Oh,
friend
shout
Jules.
out.
Shout out
Shout
Jules.
out.
Everybody should go watch it. It was really good. I thought it was cool. I had fun with it. I was like, that's really good stuff. And then I saw Kinds of Kindness, which for people who listened to the end of last week's pod, I thought we
Yeah,
would be
this
talking
guy's
about this
making
week. So
broken promises.
yeah, so apologies for saying that we'd be talking about Kinds of Kindness this week. We are not. I don't know if we're gonna do a pod on it at some point, so I just will. We probably won't.
Just
But I'm
quit it with
gonna,
the promises, right?
I'm gonna not.
Probably
I'm
not.
gonna not spoil. Yeah,
we'll
I'm gonna
talk
not
about it. We'll
spoil
talk about it.
anything.
But like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there will be
it'll
a episode where it will be brought up again.
yeah, it'll come up.
I'll make
But
that promise.
I liked it. I thought it was. I'm seeing some people hating certain things about it that I don't particularly agree with. I'm
there's
seeing
people on
people.
Twitter calling for Yorgos Lanthimos' death over the
Yeah,
movie.
I know. I know. I've seen. Yeah, people really don't like that guy. I don't know. I've never had a problem with it's fine. Whatever. I don't know. People could hate him, I guess. I'm like, these are I don't know. They're fun.
Yeah, this is a
I enjoyed
generally
them.
pro Yorgos
I
pod, I
Yeah,
think.
I laughed the whole time. I thought it was fun. People like kind of like hate on specifics, like because obviously it's split into three different stories. Like people kind of specifically, I've seen hate a lot on the second one, which I thought was really entertaining. So I was kind of shocked by that. I thought the second one was really fun. Um, I guess people seem to have a problem with it. I don't know. There's a scene in there that I understand is probably the cause for all of that discourse, but yeah, whatever. I'm not going to spoil things.
Whatevs.
I watched this movie that I don't think my co-hosts have heard of, 10 Skies by James Penning. Hasn't been brought up before, I don't think. I texted Owen, I was gonna write a review, and then I didn't write it because Doug was gonna get mad at me if I posted it. I was gonna make a letterbox review that said, "Yep, I counted. There's 10 of them."
Crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But then I didn't.
He had the restraint, you know.
This is a level of like really intense analysis that you get from the Looks Like a Movie crew over here.
It showed a level of restraint that I typically don't. I showed some respect. I really liked it though, to be fair, but it's just like I was like, this isn't the time. I don't want Doug to be mad.
I will say I really do. I'm not done with it. Yeah, I'm not even close to done with it yet, but I do really recommend the 10 Skies book.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It is like for what the movie is, it is very extensive analysis, and it's really, really worthwhile.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's like 200 pages
I'll have to purchase it.
nothing but analysis of the
Sweet.
of
Yeah,
every
I'll be
sky.
done with it probably.
That's like 5 pages Sky.
Yeah, I'll probably finish it around
That's not how that
2027.
2027.
Yeah, I
5
read
pages
slow.
a day.
I got some books lined up, there's other stuff in the works. Anyway, and then to get to the TV part before Horizon, Love Island, I don't have to talk about this week. There's a lot going on, but too much Love. Oh, okay. I mean, only if you guys don't.
This is what they pay for, you know. This is what they pay for.
Yeah, actually, I don't really know that there's like, I mean, okay, really the big Love Island thing, which has kind of been a thing for weeks now, but it's just getting worse, is this guy, Joey Essex, who I've told you guys about on the podcast already.
Yeah, Seth's friend.
Yeah, kind of like the worst dude ever, but like a huge reality star in England. Like everybody knows who he is. Man, I hate this guy. I texted my friend and I was like, Joey Essex needs to die, which is like harsh, but like, holy shit, he sucks. Like there's this girl, Grace, who I think I told you guys about this, but like she had like a fling with him outside of Love Island, like before the show started. And then like it was like a vacation fling and they were like really into each other. And then they like kind of like I don't know, it burnt out or whatever. They stopped talking, and then they reconnected on Love Island, and it's like immediately they like picked up where they left off, and they were like still into each other, and they're like making out the first day she joins the villa, and like everything. It's like all really intense. And then this new girl just walked in this past week, and he went on one date with her, and he was like, I kind of want to get to know her. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? It's like you're like in a relationship with this girl pretty much. And like a girl walks in, he talks to her for like 2 minutes, and he's like, yeah, I kind of like her. He's like, and it ruined, and everything kicked off. Like Grace was pretty much like, you're a fucking asshole. And also like right after he had this conversation with Grace about how he wants to get to know the new girl, he immediately brought the new girl up to the terrace and started kissing her. The first day she was there, like the guy is a fucking villain, dude. Like
That's
the
just
worst.
the Joey SX way, dude.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
You're either with it or without it.
Yeah, he's actually fucking evil. And Grace deserves better, but Grace is moving on now. Hopefully she finds a cooler, better guy that's not Joey. Hopefully everybody finds a guy that's not Joey Essex, but someone's gonna get stuck.
Someone has to end up with him.
Yeah, or not, or he could get. Also, the other thing is there was. I don't want to spoil this for people who actually watch the show. There was a big dumping. You guys remember me telling you about Ronnie, the really ugly dude who causes a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and he wasn't.
Ronnie and Harriet got dumped, and they are like kind of the core of the drama.
No,
because they're in a couple.
No, how could that happen, Kevin?
No, it's so no. But here's the thing that's fucked. No. Hear me out though. Here's the thing that's fucked up about it. Right, is that Ronnie and Harriet caused the most drama in the villa. They just got dumped last night, and Sunday tomorrow.
Them as like
as a couple. They got dumped as a couple.
Dumped
they're together as a couple, and they got dumped as a couple. Yeah, because it was the couple that receives the least amount of fan votes. What the fans? They got kicked off the show.
They're just done.
Yeah, well, the fans. There's dumpings every week. People get kicked off the show. Not the whole cast doesn't stay.
Yeah, but there are dumplings every week.
No, I don't think they have those in England. Actually, they're not in England. They're like on an island in Africa or something.
I'm gonna message Seth about this.
They're on. No, wait. Is it Majorca? Seth. I think they film it in Majorca. Anyway, they got dumped, and they cause all the drama. And tomorrow's episode is the start of Casa Amor, which is when the most drama happens. So it's like, why would you dump them before we get to see Ronnie do Casa Amor, which would be the craziest thing ever? Casa Amor is so much fun. Ronnie would have been perfect. Anyway,
yeah,
fucking dumb on the producers end. They should have just dumped somebody else. Like, I don't fucking, who cares about it?
Should have rigged the vote.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do that anyway, I think. So I don't know why they dumped Ronnie and Harriet. Whatever. Anyway, the show.
How do we get Boban on Love Island?
Who?
Boban.
Like Marjanovic?
Yeah. Yes.
How do we get him on Love Island?
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
I mean, he was in John Wick.
He's probably married. I think
he was in John Wick. Yeah. I don't know if that's the same thing as
married.
John Wick kills him with the book. Remember that? John Wick kills Boban with the book.
John Wick kills Boban.
Yeah. We remember what happens in John Wick. Yeah.
And that's why he never won a championship.
The two shows that are airing that are like not Love Island are House of the Dragon and The Bear came out. House of the Dragon I don't need to talk about
for The Bear
because it comes out every week. But The Bear, it's listen, guys. It's just not that good, man. Ooh. It's just not that
Fuck
great.
The Bear.
The Bear.
I haven't seen it. I stirred up a little bit of drama in our Discord because I sent that negative review, and people were like, "Yo, hold up!"
People were like, "Watch out!" Listen, I don't agree with like everything that review is saying. Like, there's like, I don't know. I
just think it was a good perspective. I haven't seen the show.
Listen, the show is not bad. And I'll probably post a TikTok review of it today because I literally just finished the season finale right before we started recording. So I got to put my thoughts together for all 10 episodes. But like, I don't know, man. It's just not for me, I guess, which is like most TV. But it's like, I hate that it has moments where I'm like, I want to like this. Like as a comedy, I'm like, this is a really fucking funny show with like characters who you want to care about, which is like fun for a comedy. Except the problem is that like the other half of the show is drama that I don't care about and like narrative. Like in the 10 episodes that came out this season, we progressed, like the A plot progressed as much as it would in one episode of TV. Because there's like every episode is like an episode about a side character, and it's like them going on a whole like personal journey and blah blah blah, and like also all the stuff about like Carmi's like trauma and stuff is just so repetitive. And I get that that's the point. Like I get that it's like hard to overcome your brother's suicide and blah blah blah. Like it's a traumatic thing, and no, I'm just saying no.
Yeah.
It's not like no, but it's like it's not that I expect him to overcome any of the shit that's happened to him over 3 seasons of a show.
You just don't hear about it,
I don't, but it's like you can do that and still make good TV. It's like the whole plot, like Peaky Blinders, for example, right? One of my favorite shows. The whole like arc of the show is that the characters are overcoming like the PTSD from the war they were just in. And then Cillian Murphy's character also goes through like a similar heartbreaking like death of a loved one and then has to deal with that for the remainder of the show.
You're saying why aren't these line cooks more like gangsters from
no,
1920s
that's not what I'm
England?
saying.
You're saying,
I'm saying
like
Peaky Blinders. I'm saying Peaky Blinders does both. It is both like a TV show and about like this guy's trauma. And I'm like, dude, I don't need like every single scene of them cooking to be Carmi having like 1,400 flashbacks to how like his old boss used to yell at him and how he's like sad his brother died every time he's cooking. I'm like, of course he is, but it's like, it's like when you see it every episode for 3 seasons, I'm like, are we going to get anywhere or is this just the whole show? Like, and it doesn't feel like we are.
The streets are saying that season 3 is a filler season. That's what
it feels like that. Yeah. But that's what the last season felt like to me. It's like everybody loved the last season and now everybody's turning it on season 3. And I'm like, maybe you guys are just turning on it because it's the same fucking thing as season 2. And it's like, you're getting bored.
I saw some people say that like more episodes would help. That if it was like a 20 episode season, maybe it would help.
No,
but it wouldn't.
We don't want like more, man. We want less.
No, okay. I mean, okay, listen. More episodes would help if this is also, and I hate to do this because it's like so annoying, but it really is the truth. This stuff would probably matter 10 times less if they just released the episodes every week. I would probably not be complaining about the stuff that I'm complaining about if they just spread out the episodes. But like it is so obvious what is wrong with it when you watch all 10 episodes in a row in the span of 2 days. Like it's just like
the repetitiveness probably gets more because like when you watch 3 in a row, you're like, oh, like the similarities feel way more similar.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm fucking tired, dude. It's like if I watched it every week, I'd be like, okay, this is good because each episode on its own, like the way it stands, is good TV and like it's like entertaining enough. But when I watch 10 in a row, like today, I woke up and I knew I had 2 episodes left, and I was like, I don't even want to fucking do this anymore, but I'm going to because I'm already here. Like I might.
When you watch 10 in a row, you're kind of like, oh, Carmi's sad again. Okay,
well, like,
someone's gonna yell. All right.
Yeah, it's like
there's Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett shows up. Another person shows up who I don't want to name in case people really care about the bear and haven't gotten to it yet. But that person showing up, I thought was really stupid. If you watch the show, you know who I'm talking about, probably.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Anyway, that's the bear. I'm not going to talk about it at length because I think I'll make an annoying TikTok that will get nothing but hate comments. We could talk about Horizon and American Saga, chapter 1 of possibly 4 chapters, but at least 2 chapters.
For sure, 3 chapters.
Is the third? Is the third?
The third is like well in sequential photography. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're getting 4, baby.
Yeah. So we'll get 4. Anyway, we're only talking about 1 because that's the only one we've seen.
The only one I've seen. Well, we can talk a little bit about 2, I guess.
Right. We can talk a little bit about 2, but we'll get there at the. End.
Baffling.
Yeah. Part 1. Doug already kind of hinted at it. It pretty much is just 3 episodes of TV. 3 episodes of TV that I personally am fine watching. I was like,
it's good.
I was like, if this was the first 3 episodes of a TV, I don't know that I'd keep watching the show. I'll be honest. Like, but as it stands, I'm not gonna lie, enjoyed all 3.
If this was a miniseries, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but I'm down to watch a season of a TV show if like I'm like interested in it. I bring this show up all the time just because it's like the only new show I've seen, but I really love it. It's the Taylor Sheridan show, Special Ops Lioness. I literally sat down and watched the entire season of that show in one sitting. It's like a full day. I would do that if like this was a TV show. If Horizon was a TV show,
this might as well be a Taylor Sheridan show.
I would sit down for 12 hours and just watch Horizon in one sitting.
I think I would. I mean, I like if you released these 3, and this is kind of similar to how I feel about the ending of the movie, which we'll get to later, but just like the thing in general, like it's like if you released these 3 episodes on their own, you know how,
Mhm.
like, Netflix sometimes releases, like, half a
Like
season of a
batches.
show? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
like, if you release these 3 episodes, and then you gave me a trailer for part 2, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna open Netflix and watch part 2 when it comes out." Like, I
Yeah.
genuinely would. Like, that is, like, what I walked out of this thinking. And I know that a lot of people, um, have kind of complained that it's, like, 3 hours of exposition, which I guess is
True.
a fair complaint because it's a movie and not a TV show, because in TV, like, when you actually are splitting it up, people don't really care as much if you're throwing exposition at them, but, you know.
Counterpoint. Dune Part 1 is an hour and a half of exposition.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I mean, not even no, the whole movie is exposition, really. It's
I mean,
like
there's some, like, stuff that
sure,
really
there's, like,
happens,
stuff
but, like,
in there.
most
Yeah.
of that movie is exposition.
I mean, it doesn't help
Um,
that this movie puts, like, the really intense action scene in the first hour and then
yeah.
follows it up with 2
It's
hours of
hooking you in, though.
exposition.
It
I
hooks you in.
thought I'll say this. I do think that they handled like I hate to talk about like pacing in like because it's like
Yeah.
such like an easy thing to point out. But
But
I
the
think for
pacing
like
in this movie is notable, though.
I think for like a 3 hour like setup movie, I think it keeps like me entertained like really like I think it like has like it'll do like we're doing this, and then it has like a high moment where like it's very tense like action thing, and then it like goes back to like we're learning, and
Right.
then it has like a moment like I think it does a really good job of like peaking and kind of valleying like in like a way of like the intensity level of like what's going
Yeah.
on.
I think the first 2 hours go by super fast.
I really
Like
yeah, I mean, I even like the 3rd hour, but
Yeah.
we'll get I mean, the way that
But
I kind of thought instead of, like, going, like, plot by plot, I was just kinda gonna ask you guys,
too
like,
much stuff happens to do that.
what yeah, I was gonna just kind of ask you guys, like, which, like, characters slash subplot stories are, like, your favorites and least favorites, like, which ones you were the most invested in and which ones you weren't, and we could kinda just, like, break it down that way instead of going, like, I don't know, episode by episode, quote
Yeah.
unquote,
yeah,
or
I think that
like,
makes
Yeah.
you
sense.
know, like we could kind of just
Um
like talk because that's pretty much how it's you know it's executed like a piece of TV. It's like that's how most TV shows work. Is like you kind of jump from one plot to the next, and like these characters are going to all connect at some point, but it's
yeah.
not in
They're
this
I would
all
part.
like
they're all heading to the same place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
would
not
like
in
to
this part.
say before we start that, like, because this idea of like these like non-connected like characters in like the West, I like I understand like knowing that there are sequels and like knowing what is to come. There is like a level like I know what's going to happen in a sense, but
Mhm.
I think like the idea of making like a 3 hour because it is like yeah this has like TV elements, but it is in essentially like in essence like a movie. So like
Mhm.
a 3 hour movie where there are like random like people that don't connect in different areas of the West, like as like a piece, I did find it very interesting in like a sense of like there is not really a main character and like the West itself becomes like the main character where like
Yeah, this was
you're
something I was gonna
bouncing
ask.
I brought up like an anthology film in my review where it's not exactly that like in structure, but it has like the level of like a combined theme where like across different sections where and I think that like it worked for me on that level where it's like there's just like little stories here and there, but it's like about the West in like the horizon and like the dirt being like the main character. And I think there's like a level of like I brought it up with like the wagon master, but like there's like the sun in the river, like the wind blowing in the trees, where it's like this is like a very like alive movie that like you know it feels shot on location. Where like you see that like Deadpool trailer where it's like shot on location, but it feels like shot on the volume. Like this feels like a movie where they went out and it like that's what it feels like. The horizon itself, the West, it feels like the main character. So the level of like the sizzle reel at the end, which we'll talk about later, but like the level of TV ness where it's like it's going to be kind of a longer thing, but just looking at it as like a singular piece, there's I think it does work for me on that level because of like this like connectedness of just these are just people, separate people that have nothing to do with each other yet that kind of exist and kind of fighting the same similar struggles, I guess.
That is how TV shows are structured. Is
Sure.
like a bunch of different people that aren't connected, and then
But
like
yeah.
each episode is cutting back and forth between them.
Mhm.
Uh, that's like what really stuck out when I was watching it. Where I was like, oh, this is like you could tell like where I have a theory about this where I think that he wants to sell the rights to this movie to a like he like wants to negotiate the rights to sell this to a streamer down like way down the line as like a mini like the as a mini series version, like similar to what they did this recently with the Baz Luhrmann film Australia, where it's like, oh, it's like they call it something different, but it's like it's just like Australia, the mini series on Hulu, even though it's a movie, but they cut it up into a mini series. I think that he is going to cut this up into a mini series down the line and then give it to a streamer and be like the Horizon like show event, like whatever, you know, on not on Max or whatever. And because like there are moments where me and Kevin talk about like, oh, it feels like 3 episodes of a TV show, because when you watch a TV show, it's like 3 episodes of like, oh, like we can't stay away from a character for too long during this hour. It's like
He
you
does,
introduce
like,
the
cut
character,
back
and then
to
you have to
them.
cut back to them so you don't
Yeah.
forget about them. And that's how a TV show is structured, where it's like when you have like you can't go too many episodes without cutting back to a different plot line, or the people watching them are going to forget. Because when you watch a TV show, you're not watching them all in a row, you know,
Yeah.
like a movie, where it's you don't have to worry about that as much with the movie. Like you can go
Right.
longer without cutting, because it's like, but with the TV show you can't. You have to cut back to them and be like, hey, remember, don't forget about these guys. So
Yeah.
that's like a big part of it, where it's like,
Not
oh,
just
this
that,
feels
but there's
so
like
much like a TV show.
there's distinct moments where like they are ending every episode. I mean, at like exactly the hour mark, there is literally like a cut to black. It's like short, but it's like it cuts to black and then it like goes to a different character where it's like it's very clear that that's where the first episode ended. And they don't really do it at the end of the second one, but there's like a moment where like it felt like, oh, this is the start of the third episode. Like it's
The
like
most
they make
obvious
it
part
very clear.
was when Kevin Costner's character gets introduced. It's
Yeah,
like,
well,
this is the
that's-
beginning of episode
It's
2.
like that's exactly. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring this up because it's not like a part of the actual film, but when Costner first like initially wanted to make this, it was a single location, not like maybe not like a single room, but like a single area film set, and it was like a single movie, and it was probably going to be shorter, and it probably would have just been about, I don't know, like
My understanding was it was about the Sam Worthington character.
Oh, okay. That'd
Yeah.
be yeah. So that was it's interesting how it's grown into like this 12-hour thing, because it was initially going to be like a smaller, I guess, smaller scale thing. It's really big in scale now.
Well, yeah. So okay, so this segues into something I have in my notes, which is that Costner said that he pitched it to all the studios as like a movie. He pitched it to streamers as a TV show. But like all of them were like no, and he brought up like a bunch of reasons. It was like because of the subtitles, because of like this and that. It was like
the subtitles.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
there's not that many, you know, right? But there's like,
well, like
it's
there were,
pretty-
I'm sure
yeah.
there will be much more. I'm assuming
They didn't want them
Yeah,
to
that's
talk
fair.
in the movie.
No, like like anyway,
No,
whatever.
he's saying
But like that's what he
English
said. That's what he
translation
said.
subtitles.
Yeah.
No, I know, but they
but,
didn't want to have the indigenous people talking.
I'm sure that there's going to be long scenes in the later movies where it's just indigenous people talking, not in
Okay.
English, for extended
So
periods.
that
of time.
wasn't
Right.
Netflix doesn't want that.
Right, but
Does that
he
not
said like
happen in Yellowstone?
I don't know.
We haven't seen
Yellowstone takes place in modern day.
Oh, okay.
People can
Yeah,
speak
Yellowstone's
other
not a period
languages in
piece.
modern
Yellowstone
day.
takes place in
Oh,
2019.
Okay.
There's prequels though. Like there's like an 1890 whatever prequel to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
But like he was pitching it to all these different places, and like none of them would buy it without like severely compromising what his vision was. And he's talking about how he was he doesn't want to go away from the details. He's like he doesn't want to just like be like, oh, and then she takes the bath and not show it. It's like, no, it's, oh no, we have to show like, oh, this is her taking the bath and this is how she takes the bath, or like this is the character missing a shot, or this is like a small confrontation or conversation that could be skipped over. He's like, these are things that to him, like he wants to include all of like these really small things because to him they matter to the grander scope of it.
Yeah.
You could argue whether or not it actually matters, but that was like a big part of why it's so big and why there's all these characters doing all these like little things, because like there are lots of like little things in the movie that do compound that you can pick up on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to think of what my favorite one was, which like I don't, do you guys have a very obvious answer for what your favorite
I
subplot
do.
is? Okay.
My
What's yours?
the characters I'm most invested in are Sam Worthington's character, and I'm forgetting the actress's name,
Sienna Miller.
and Sienna
Sienna
Miller.
Yeah. Okay.
Their plot line is the one I'm most invested in.
I think
to the
that's
point-
probably second for me, or maybe even first. I don't know.
I love them, and that could be one in the future installments. But when Kevin Costner shows up, there is a level of like energy that
star,
shifts.
yeah.
It's he like shows up, and it's like, oh, he's here. And there was I think it does work because of like the maybe more television structure of it. But there was a level of discussion before we saw the movie of like, oh, Kevin Costner doesn't show up until X amount into the movie. And I never felt like when watching it that like that was an issue because I was just kind of invested in what I was seeing. But there is like a moment where he does first show up where the movie changes in like a way. It's like, oh, here is
It's
Kevin
like John
Costner.
Wayne showing up in a movie. It's like this is
so
the hero.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that whole section in him is like it's a good part, but I think a lot of it is just because how awesome he is and like he's such a great actor. But yeah, I do think not only Sam Worthington, but all the stuff that Sienna Miller's character goes through under the attack, and then she's like in the dirt, and there's like all that like stuff. I think that part is really great with you have Kevin Costner's son in that whole scene where they're like under siege in that house.
Right.
Really interesting. Like that's like the big action set piece you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Where like the whole town is like burning and
like super intense.
I think that's the best like actual like scene.
Same.
That's the best like chunk of the movie if you're gonna talk about like
really impressive set piece.
Impressive set piece.
All the stuff going on.
As fuck.
I love the kid that like it goes on later in the movie, but him like saving those two horses, and then he's like riding off, and then like it gets dark, and he's like riding off, and then it fades out, and like the fire. There's like it like dissolves, and there's like the fire, and then there's the horse. It's like crazy. I don't know. You guys remember that scene?
I do.
That is like that shit is crazy.
It's awesome.
I love that whole moment is really great.
The scene you're talking about is the part where I get the most emotionally invested in anybody, which is why that might be like that whole scene, like that whole setup is probably why I care about the Sam Worthington and Sienna Miller characters the most. But I don't know, maybe this was just I quite liked the whole thing with Jenna Malone's baby, and then like the what's her name, Abby Lee, who ends up watching it, and then that's when the Kevin Costner character gets introduced. Like the whole thing between Abby Lee and Kevin Costner, and like the people chasing down the baby, I thought was really interesting. Then the guy from Sky High shows up, and I was like, that's the guy from Sky High. And I said that to my friend, and I said it to my friend during the movie. I was like, that's the guy from Sky High, and he was like, dude, I've been trying to figure out who that was.
No, he was also an Oppenheimer.
No, I know he's an Oppenheimer. He's an he just has the Sky High face forever. Like
I really like that section. I think Jenna Malone's really good. I think there's a lot of I
didn't know Jenna Malone was in the movie, so I actually didn't know a number of these people were in the movie. So every time they showed up, I was really fucking shocked. Luke Wilson shows up, and I'm like, why the fuck is Luke Wilson here? And then fucking what's his name shows up, right? Will Patton shows up right after Luke Wilson. I'm like, bro, Luke
Wilson shows up 2 hours into the movie.
But it's like there's so many people that I had, and then like the very last scene of the movie, fucking Giovanni Ribisi is there, and I'm like,
because he's not in the. He's like fourth billed on Letterboxd.
But he's not in it until like the last scene.
Well, he's not.
Giovanni Ribisi is interesting because he's the big bad. Like he's like the big bad guy of the whole thing, right?
Right.
It's gonna be really interesting.
Which is gonna be awesome because he's a great actor. But it's like I literally the only people I knew in the cast going in were like Kevin Costner and Sam Worthington. I didn't know anybody else in the movie. So like every single time one of these people showed up and I recognized them, I was like, I didn't know he was getting any of these people in the movie. When Jenna Malone showed up, it was genuinely like shocking to me. Like the first time I saw Jenna Malone, I was like, I thought that was like just an actress that they got that really looks like Jenna Malone. And then they showed a close up of her face, and I was like, holy shit.
The husband, or like the boy, like whatever, like the boyfriend character in that section, he looks just like in like certain angles, like what's his name from First Cow,
John
Magara. Yeah,
Magara. Yeah.
he looks just, and I was like, this is like diet, like.
For a second, I thought the two like brothers that are hunting the baby.
Yeah,
For a second, I thought Doug doesn't like them. I don't think
I
we
don't
can
like
get to
them.
that.
I don't like them.
But I thought the taller one, like the big scary one, I thought for a second when they first showed him, he was what's that fucking actor's name
The guy from
Jared
Supernatural?
Padalecki? Yeah,
Yeah,
from Supernatural.
I thought so
I was
did
like, bro, I
I.
thought that was
Yeah,
him,
like
dude.
him.
I was like, what the fuck?
I know Doug doesn't like John Beaver's performance, but I liked him. But I was like, where do I know this guy from? And I think I was thinking of that guy because I looked him up and I was like, this guy's in like nothing. Like he's in Licorice Pizza. I don't know what he did in Licorice Pizza.
Dude,
but
I know him from somewhere.
It's
Oh my
like Licorice
god!
Pizza.
He's from fucking Animal Kingdom, I think. Which
Animal
you guys
Kingdom?
have not watched. It's a TV
I don't know what that is.
It's a TV show.
No, but
it's a TV
I
show
mean,
based on an Australian movie.
he was familiar, very familiar to me, but I don't know where.
No, but like I knew his face from somewhere. It's because a long time ago when Animal Kingdom first started airing on TV, I watched it for like a little while, and he has a very memorable face when you see it, not like all westerned up and like you just see his normal face. Yeah, I liked them. I don't know. It was like some of the stuff in that, like, it's like I'm conflicted because like some of the stuff in that story was probably like the silliest stuff in the movie to me, where I was just like I don't know, like I thought some of it was like really dumb, but then at the same time it's probably still the story that I enjoyed watching the most, like as a piece of like TV. If that's what this ended up being, I would have like, like if I was returning every week for a TV show, that's the storyline that I would want getting the most screen time. Like it's like I would want to be waiting for that to keep coming back.
I think that I have a hard time with those guys' performances because they're giving like, I'm going to sound dumb because I'm not going to be able to intellectualize this in a way that is good. But like they're giving like TV performances. They're giving like, because we're cutting from like movie stars, and then we have scenes where it's like them just talking to each other, and I'm like, okay, now I'm just actually just watching
the dude
a TV
from
show.
Stranger
Like,
the dude from Stranger Things, I only know from Stranger Things.
He is like the Stranger Things version of like Barry Keoghan. Like he's like giving like I'm the Joker, like evil guy, but he's like TV version.
Yeah, it's like we're cutting from like these guys who I think are incredible, like cinema, like film actors, and it's like, and then we have these other guys that are in the scenes alone talking to each other for extended periods of time, and I'm like, it's notably worse to me. It's worse to me. It's like
the thing for me is that like I think I felt pretty immediately, but especially when we get to that first cut, like I was like, there was just a point where like the switch flipped and I was like, I'm watching TV. So to me, like I was just like, I'm watching pretty TV. Like I'm watching pretty TV on a big screen. And so everything that felt like TV, I was just like, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it is TV. I was like, that's just what to me, that's what it felt like I was watching. I was like, every time somebody was like kind of delivering lines in a way that wasn't very cinematic, I was just like, yeah, I mean, it feels like I'm watching a TV show.
I didn't have a problem with anyone's acting. I will say I couldn't understand like half the things Michael Rooker said. Bro's accent was a little tough to follow. But I don't really know like any of the characters or the actors' names. But I do like the kind of narrative with the little boy who was in the earlier scenes with the horses, and he kind of goes off, and now he's like with this like little like rough gang or whatever that's like very evil guys.
Yeah, like scalping Native Americans and like backstabbing.
That one's kind of my least favorite.
I just kind of like him. I like him as a character, like the boy. And even though like the section isn't like the best, I think I'm excited to see where he goes. And that's like the biggest like
Yeah.
TV element for me. Is like I'm just like I'll be tuning in next time.
Yeah, like you're excited to see how everything connects, which I get. I just didn't, I don't know, the stuff with that boy. I thought I'd be more invested in it because I think I like the boy, but I think like all of the characters that surround him, I care so
Or, like,
little about that I was like, this is kind of boring to me. Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
I would
I'd
say
rather
like the
watch the other people.
least interesting part for me is like the Luke Wilson section.
I don't love that either.
There's not a lot. Well, there's just not
There's just
anything
not a
going
lot.
on yet. There's
Yeah.
just nothing going on there
They're just
yet.
not doing. That was the
they have,
section though
like,
where
Harry
people
Styles
showing
looking
up.
guy.
No, but like that was the section where like people showing up like amazed me. Like it was like first it was Luke Wilson, then it was Will Patton like 2 seconds later. Then like right after that, it was the girl from the Orphan movies, Isabella Furman. She showed up and I was like, that's the fucking Orphan, dude. I was like, I mean, first of all, immediately couldn't believe that she was a character in the West. I was like, that like she's the Orphan. Which like sucks for her. Like it's like
is she like the girl that's like married to like Harry Styles?
No, that's a different girl. So the like the one that's like the one that gets like undressed and like is like taking a
and there's like guys watching.
Yeah, that's
a
different girl who I think people really like because I think she's a TV actress.
Because she looks like she's not in the West.
She's so gorgeous. She's very beautiful woman. I don't like her performance. I don't know if it's the writing of the characters. I don't have a heart. I don't know if I can like
her name
separate
is Ella
it
Hunt
or something. But like I do not like her performance, and I don't like the performance of her husband. Her husband feels like he's playing
Harry Styles,
like a cartoon character. Her husband feels like he's playing the fucking guy from the Atlantis movie. You know what I'm talking about?
So
like,
I just did a little bit. You're right about that. I just did a little bit of background. The reason why I think Ella Hunt is a popular actress for some people is because she's in that show Dickinson that Haley Steinfeld was in. Yeah, she's like the second lead in that show with Haley Steinfeld. She's also going to be in that SNL 1975 movie.
So the worst movie of all time with an amazing cast.
Yeah, no, she's like her and her husband were like stuck out more than anybody in the movie for me, where I was just like, we don't really need these people here. I thought it was interesting like what they represent. Yeah, I thought it was interesting what they represent, but I was like, this is kind of annoying me.
No, like the husband literally feels like he's playing a cartoon character. I'm like, it's like so out of place.
It's so funny. He's like, please, Luke Wilson, like stand up for me. Like,
yeah, I know. It was so
like
silly.
please tell these.
And then like randomly, Luke Wilson walks over to that guy, and like someone does the one guy does a Russian accent, and I'm like that. I'm not really sure what's happening.
It's
there.
Speaking of,
like there's just like a random Russian guy.
Sam Worthington, notably an Australian actor, just kind of speaking in an Australian accent in this movie a little bit. I think I'll say it. I think it works because it kind of sounds like he's like maybe has a little bit of British accent going on, and it's like, you know what I mean?
Sam Worthington is maybe the best performance in the movie.
I definitely think it's the best performance.
Like, probably not. I don't even know if it's close, honestly. I thought it like kind of was really the standout. At least like I don't know if he's my favorite character. I don't know if he's my favorite character.
I'll say that. Like,
the most believable.
Not the best character, best performance.
Yeah. There's so much happening behind his face. You know what I mean? There's emotions.
Well, that's like similar.
Him and Sienna Miller, and that, like when Sienna Miller and him have that like little moment.
That was cute.
It's so cute.
It's really
I love
cute.
those guys.
I know. I like Sienna Miller a lot.
No, it's so awesome. He goes over there and he's like, hey, like there's some rumors. I hope I'm not making you uncomfortable. And she's like, well, you said what you had to say and you're still standing here. So is there anything else? It's like,
no, it was so sweet though. I was also like, this would never happen, but like it was really, I was like, there's no way that like this long ago, like anybody would have the courtesy to do that. But maybe, you know, I don't know. It's hard to believe, but also like, yeah, I don't know. I thought that stuff was really. I like her daughter as well, who like there was like that really sweet moment,
just
where
very
she, like,
sweet and cute.
Runs, where she like runs and hugs like
He gives him all the little things.
Yeah, I was like, she's sweet.
My brother leaned over me at that. He's like, those guys are all gonna die.
No, they say that in the movie.
No,
like,
I know. It's so funny.
Yeah. No, I like that whole stuff. I mean, because that to me is like, right, because the movie's building towards like the Horizon place or whatever, right? Like the town.
Yeah,
and
they're all going to this town.
But like that, like army base like outpost thing they have set up where Sam Worthington is and like the rest of those people are is like seemingly the closest like kind of community type like feeling thing to like what is going to be similar when all those people show up in that place. So like I find that stuff engaging because I know that that's kind of what we're building towards is like all these people meeting in some kind of place where it's like an actual town and not just like, you know, the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I'm pretty interested in.
I have to
Well,
bring it up at some
yeah.
point. We got to talk about the politics of this movie eventually.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I think that this might be a transition into it, just because the outpost we're talking about and those people that get shipped off, they get shipped off to fight in the American Civil War, which is actively happening in the background of this movie that gets
Yeah.
mentioned
Right.
onys.
Yeah, they do sneak it in there in one line. Like, or they say something about like the Union, and I'm just like, oh, it's
Yeah.
like you guys are just
And they
like
they make it
the
clear it's like, oh, this is the Union, and like they
Yeah.
say something about how it's like, oh, this war is going to end eventually, whether we're one nation or two, and it's like, okay, interesting stuff. But also Kevin Costner, this is a revisionist western, right? In some ways, I don't know if it like very neatly falls into like what is considered a revisionist western of a certain time, because it is like a specific movement that happened in westerns during the 60s or whatever. But it's a revisionist western in the sense where it's like attempting to show Native Americans as humans, as human beings that are good people, or maybe not good people, but like nuanced characters, right? Uh, and and he did that again because Kevin Costner also wrote, directed, and starred in Dances with Wolves, which also did that, but that did that 20-30 years ago.
Yeah, a while back. Also in that section, an actor we didn't mention. I was like, I wasn't certain it was him when he first showed up, and then I was like, oh no, it's definitely him.
The guy
Tatanka
from
Means from Killers of the Flower Moon.
yeah.
And I saw him, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude, that rocks. I was like, I
He's
love
like
that guy in Killers of the Flower Moon. He's so
seemingly
good.
one of the more important Native American characters. They don't get a lot
Yeah.
of screen time in this movie,
Yeah, it
though.
seems like they're
No,
gonna be
they kind of
more.
show up like pretty early on, obviously, when that big like action part is happening, and then like they don't really show up again until way later. Like there's a pretty long gap between them showing up. Like it's like there's the conversation with like the general and like his sons or whatever, where they're like kind of arguing, and then like we just don't see them for a long time.
Yeah, I have a feeling that in the later movies we're gonna spend a lot more time with them, but maybe
Yeah.
not. Well, I mean, who knows?
Kevin
like-
Yeah,
Costner
they
knows.
could just be kind of cast to the side.
But that's the thing,
Which
though.
would
It's
be-
like his Kevin Costner is very explicit about his intentions with the film, saying that like he thinks that it's a really interesting part of history, like this specific time period where manifest destiny, where like Americans or like moving west and just like inserting themselves into Native American land and just like completely disrupting their way of life in ways that at the like Americans never even considered or like knew was happening. Like he said in an interview where he was like, "Yeah, you think about it, right?" And it's like they just fought down at this river crossing that this specific tribe uses, tribe or clan, whatever, uses, and it's like, okay, they can't use that anymore because they have guns and they will shoot you. So now they have to go around somehow, but then they go around into other territories and break like natural borders, and then they get in trouble with other Native Americans, and it turns into a whole thing that white people don't give a fuck about and never even thought about, right? And he's like, he thinks that to him, like those kind of politics were really interesting to him.
Do we
and that's
know
reason why
a
I made this
lot
movie.
about like because I didn't look into this. This is just kind of an assumption based on like things I've heard in the past. Do we like know how to define Kevin Costner's politics? Aren't they like really muddled, and like
So
doesn't he dip
yeah,
his toes into a lot of different areas like that don't really align with each other?
I actually right before we started recording, I was listening to a New Yorker interview with Kevin Costner where I didn't really like a lot of the questions the interview asked, and I like some of them though. But the interviewer was like, "Let's talk about politics," basically, and he was like alluding how like Kevin Costner to that, like it's basically how like Kevin Costner is like kind of like an undefined political figure, and then Kevin Costner was like, "No, like basically no, no, no," and he's like, "But I've like talked, I know exactly what um." what is right for America, and it's like people need to go out and vote, and it's like you need to like do what you got to do and vote, and like do what you think matters and do your part." And he's like, I've spoken for Bush, but I've also like I've gone and spoken for Obama. And then the guy I hated that he asked this question, but the guy was like, "Okay, so who are you going to vote for? Are you going to vote for Trump or Biden?" And then Kevin Costner got so offended. He was like, "Why? I'm not going to answer that. Why would you even ask that question?"
Oh, I mean, that's a crazy question to ask somebody
It's
in
so
an
crazy.
interview for their movie.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, especially to Kevin Costner, it's like maybe you should have known better, probably.
Yeah, I think Kevin Costner's
Probably just a libertarian.
like a lib though. I think that he's like a social like lib moderate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fiscally conservative, socially
Oh
liberal kind of
no.
guy.
Oh
You know
no. The
what I
worst
mean?
guy you met in college.
Yeah.
Oh
That,
no.
yeah. I think I have a feeling that's
Literally
like
the
how
worst.
Kevin
No,
Costner
not
is.
the worst guy I met in college, but very much like one of my college roommates. Like before I was as into politics as I am now, like my freshman year of college, my one college roommate was like, "Yeah, no, I think I'm like fiscally conservative, socially liberal." And like at the time I didn't know how stupid it was, and then like a few
The
years
kind of
later I was
person
like,
that
"Wow, that guy was
ruined
kind of the worst."
America. Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of the worst dude alive. Not literally. I mean, he's like a nice
No,
guy.
but like
Actually.
those
Like, his
people, like
politics are crazy.
those people literally, I'm not joking, are partially responsible for ruining America and why we're gonna get nuked by China. But regardless,
Yeah, but we're talking about Horizon and
yeah, we're talking
American.
about Horizon here.
I quit that back.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Kevin Costner's politics, a little bit so. I don't. Have I shared this piece of lore on the podcast before, which is like not
Kevin Lore.
entirely lore. I don't
Kevin
know
Lore,
if it's,
Kevin Lore, Kevin Lore.
yeah. Well, so the thing is, I don't know if there's truth to this. Like, she could literally just be making it up. I mean, it's probably a fucking lie. But like, my mom, at least in the past several times, has told me that I was named after Kevin Costner. So it's really embarrassing that I haven't watched.
Wow.
It's really embarrassing that I haven't watched most of his movies. Like I feel like I it's my duty to watch most of them. But yeah, technically I'm probably named Kevin because of Kevin Costner. Who knows if it's true?
Wow.
But
Your
but
mom
it would
watched
align.
fucking
know,
Robin Hood and was
I
just like,
think-
man.
I think we're gonna get spikes in the name Kevin in like about 9 months. I'll tell you, this Horizon has really changed it. A lot of older couples are gonna have kids
Yeah,
named
no.
Kevin.
A lot of people looking to start families at 70 are
Yeah,
pumped to
yeah.
name their.
Yeah, Al
No,
Pacino.
speaking of which, my theater was like, obviously my theater was full of fucking old people. Like, surprise, surprise. But
So is mine.
but then there was this one guy. I guess like these people are used to watching Yellowstone, which obviously like weekly thing. They only have to spend an hour of their night. So there's this one guy that by like the third hour of the movie, just every like 2 to 3 minutes would just like audibly yawn like really loud when it was just like quiet and there was like no noise on screen, and he would just like he would just yawn loud as fuck and everybody would start laughing, and he just kept doing it. And there was like 6 guys who fell asleep. There was like 6 old men who just knocked out completely. Like, I was just looking around,
Yeah.
and their heads were just like slumped on their wives' like shoulders, and they were just like knocked out, dude. Like they clocked
Yeah.
out by the third hour.
I bet they had the grand old time too.
No, yeah, and then they probably walked out of the theater talking about it, being like, "Man, I can't wait for part 2."
Yeah. Real
Yeah, I
dude's
don't
rock
know.
moment.
Yeah, is it a dude's rock movie though? There's not much. There's not
Nobody
much, like,
really rocks in this
yeah,
movie.
nobody
I'm gonna
really
be
rocks in
honest.
this
Nobody
movie.
really rocks.
Not much rocking going on.
Unfortunately, no. Kevin Costner's son, Hayes Costner, his character kind of rocks in the
Sure,
movie.
yeah.
Till
Because
he
he's
dies.
Technically,
like,
Kevin Costner has a moment where he rocks.
Kevin Costner rocks.
yeah, Kevin.
He also has like several moments where he rocks during the chapter 2 trailer.
Yeah, he like punches the guy.
He's like really rocking during the chapter 2 trailer. It's like I like you probably should have put a couple of these in the first part, because like he was
Dude.
he's like fighting people and
him
like
punching
fist
that
fighting
guy in
people
like
at
the like
rodeos.
ring is like in like the first trailer.
Yeah, he's like
The-
he's like shooting people and like shit. Like he's like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
nuts
yeah.
in the
No, he's
part
gonna
2
go
trailer.
full John Wayne superhero mode in the second
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
like very much Kevin Costner doing like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most like,
Which is all I'm
like,
here for.
apologizing.
I'm
like,
here for
like
it.
I'm like a huge.
That's my thing. Is these movies are ridiculous, but it's kind of like the perfect version of this ridiculous thing. It's like
Yeah.
this is what I wanted, and this is exactly what it is. It's ridiculous. It's like the sizzle reel at the end is the craziest ending to anything, because it's not really it's not an ending. The movie just like stops, but doesn't stop. It just continues, and then it like montages like scenes from the future. It's like
The movie does not stop at all. It doesn't stop at all.
Like the
There's
movie
no
doesn't
title
stop,
card.
and then there's a crystal ball that you like enter into, and you start seeing like flashes of things.
Yeah.
It's just a montage. It literally
At
feels
first,
like
I thought it was like
skip.
not a trailer for part 2.
No,
At first, I was
literally.
like, I thought this is just
It's
like
like-
advancing time before.
I thought it was just
part
advancing time.
Exactly.
So did I.
But then
Exactly.
so much stuff was happening that I was like, wait a second, this can't just like they can't just be throwing this in the fucking movie at the end and then they're
No,
just gonna
it's
jump
It feels
forward
like a
in part
montage being like, okay, we're gonna skip ahead like a month, like a couple
Yeah,
months. This is what happened in that
for a
month.
second.
But then it goes for like 5 minutes of nothing but montage. And it's like, what
Wait.
the fuck? Hold on.
when there was so much action happening in like the part 2 like that, like at the ending, I was like, wait, are they just doing this so that Kevin Costner doesn't have to do action scenes because he's old and tired? I was like, are they just putting this in here as like a fast forward so it can make it look all exciting and then we could go back to just people talking in part 2?
No, it's like, and
It's
the ending is also
ridiculous.
so abrupt. I mean, it's like, it
Yeah.
is so
Well,
bad.
that-
It's like the most baffling thing. It's honestly, it is so baffling that I cannot believe it is in the movie. Like, it is
Well,
so
that was the thing,
ridiculous.
whereas
Like,
I knew there was going to be a sizzle reel because people talked about
Yeah.
it, whatever. But
Yeah.
my expectations were like, okay, if you're going to do a sizzle reel, like a trailer thing,
it's gonna be like next
if
time.
the movie's
like,
gonna
Yeah.
end, right? Directed by Kevin Costner, blah 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 blah. At next time on Horizon, blah, or in chapter 2, then sizzle reel, right? But it just like the movie
Just does
is
it.
like just becomes a sizzle movie. Just
Wait,
like,
wait,
it's
so
a
does
part
this
of the
mean-
movie.
So does this mean what you guys know when you watch a TV show like The Bear or
like
whatever, like when a
previously
new
on?
show comes out and the
Yeah.
new season comes out and it starts with like a 3-minute clip that's like previously like last
Yeah,
season.
I
What
need it.
do you
I
think the new
need it.
movie's gonna start
I
with a
need a
catch up
sizzle
of
reel.
like what
I need a
happened in
sizzle
part
reel
1?
of
I
post
kind of
movie.
hope so. I kind of hope so.
I need it. It's like it's so ridiculous.
That would
it's
be
like, that's what I
so
want.
good.
That's so
Oh, that would be
crazy, bro.
so
That's
good
so
if that
fucking crazy.
happens.
It's
Oh
I
my
mean, the sizzle reel is so crazy that it's like and like the amount of people that had to like go through it and be like,
it's
no, yeah,
conf-
this is a good
I
like
like
they
knowing
had
that
to
there
have
was gonna be a
stopped him and
sizzle
be
reel.
like, Kevin, this is not a good idea.
This is
Like,
ridiculous. Me knowing that there's a sizzle reel at the end, like I could recognize like this is what's happening. But I can imagine all those old people just being
Yeah, I was
so
gonna say, maybe he
fucking
just knows-
confused.
No, but maybe he just knows his audience. Maybe like because maybe he starts the next movie with a previously in chapter 1 thing, right? And like a lot of old
I would
people might just
understand,
like
like,
skip part 1 and be like, oh, I missed part
but
1, but I'll
there's
just show up for part 2.
There's no like text or like voice or like anything telling you like
Yeah.
this is what's gonna happen next time. It just happens.
here's what I would have
It's
done, right?
ridiculous.
Here's what I would have done. You end it. I don't remember the exact scene where like the movie kind of ends because it leads directly into the sizzle reel so fucking smoothly too that it's confusing.
Yeah.
You end it on a hard cliffhanger, like super
Yeah.
hard cliffhanger. Cut to be continued, straight up.
Yeah,
I think that's what you do.
it's so
No sizzle reel,
easy.
just hard cliffhanger, cut to be continued. Boom. I think it's way more effective. The sizzle reel
Yeah.
is cool, but it's confusing and it's baffling. It's
confusing.
ridiculous.
It's
Like-
so confusing because for like the first couple of scenes, you're like, oh, is this just happening in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this just? And then it's like it keeps, like you said, it keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this
And you're
is
like,
the
this
sizzle
can't
reel.
possibly they can't possibly
Yeah,
be
no,
putting all this
it's like
information
it
in this
feels like
movie.
it feels like a time skip. It feels like, oh, this is like a normal montage that's like a part of the movie,
Yeah.
but it just happens for 6 minutes.
Yeah. And then at one point you're watching it and you're realizing like more is happening during this than the entire 3 hours I just watched.
Well,
And
yeah,
you're like,
because
well, they
it's
can't
Kevin
possibly be
Costner.
doing
Kevin Costner
all that.
goes between like he's fighting like multiple different people that we don't know.
He goes to like 3 different locations. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot happening. Which like
But I
is
mean,
that all
chapter 2
part,
is
is
gonna
that
be-
all part 2, do you think? I mean, it's like they're going to so many locations.
Yes,
How are
yeah,
you
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Because chapter 3
Chapter
like
3
started
wasn't shot
filming
yet.
like
right?
so like all
It
of that.
just seems like
I
a
think-
lot.
And chapter 2 is shorter than chapter 1.
chapter 2 is going to be fucking.
Are they just going to be
awesome.
cutting? Are they just going to be cutting to locations like more frequently? Like it's like it seems like there's just like too
It's
too many
full
things.
I think the
The full
characters are going to
movie.
get closer together.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So
yeah.
we're going to have more characters
are gonna
interacting.
It'll
with each
be
other.
easier
yeah.
for people
Yeah.
to right. Okay,
Less
that makes
cutting to
sense.
different spots because more characters are together.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's just going
The
to be more
tensions
stuff
are
that
gonna
happens.
rise. Two,
Right.
two's gonna be a blast. I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
No, 2
I mean,
is going to be a
it's
blast.
yeah.
I like part 1. I think I might love part 2. Like, yeah.
Is there like
Yeah, I
another
don't
example?
know. I just this shit's it's fun.
I'm trying to think of
I
like
like
I'm
it.
trying to
I
think of
think
like
it's
another
really-
example where they did something like this. Like it's like for example, like it's like people kind of hated on like the first part of the last Harry Potter movie, and then when the second part
You know
came out,
what
they
it is? You know
they
what's
went back and they were like, yeah, I mean, it's actually good now that I've seen the
This is
second
not how
part.
I feel,
What's
but
Spider-Verse?
no.
Oh,
People felt this way about Dune.
oh yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we already
didn't.
yeah.
People didn't like the first Dune, and they loved the second Dune.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because like the second Dune, everything
It's
happens
all the
in that.
action.
Yeah.
It's all the action.
That's gonna be like this. All the action's gonna be in the second one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But it's like, do people? But the problem is like, if the first movie fails, then who's gonna show up to watch? Like the thing with Dune Part 2 is that Dune made $500 million.
That's not Kevin Costner's thought process. That's not the mindset
of Kevin Costner. Bro.
Because Kevin Costner's thing is like part of these deals that he made for Horizon is like Warner Brother. It's very similar to the Megalopolis deal that Francis made with Lionsgate. It's that Kevin Costner made a deal with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is only distributing the movies, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're doing marketing. They might be doing marketing, but
Kevin
they're only
Costner's on TikTok, so
yeah, but like they're only distributing. They're putting the movie in theaters, right? Kevin Costner owns all of the rights for the movies, though. So like the movies in theaters, it's like the box office is going to be some change. But Kevin Costner's mindset is like old people are going to buy this on DVD at Walmart. He's going to sell it to streamers. He's going to cut it up into a TV show and sell it again. You know, he's thinking about like, oh, how much is this movie going to make over the next 20 years? Not just like that's his mindset at least.
When he's dead. Yeah.
Well, for his kids too. He's thinking about like his kids.
Sure,
right. But like he's like very explicit about that mindset. Because he brought up in one of the interviews I listened to, he brought up Waterworld, which colossal, like very famous failure. Very famous failure where like super expensive movie, insane production, people got hurt. Major box office flop, and he's saying that it's like, oh, it's this narrative that because it didn't do well at the box office and it's this flop, and this is what everybody says, and it like was a colossal failure. But he's like, Waterworld over the course of its life made a lot of money because it got reappraised and like screenings and DVD and streaming and kids finding it and loving it, becoming a cult thing. And he's like, so in his mind, he's like, it doesn't even really matter how well it does in theaters. I'm going to do my best for people to go see it in theaters, but it's like, he in his mind is like, this is such an iconic thing, it's going to become a cult classic, basically, is where his head is at. Like,
probably right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, this is the Western of our times.
Yeah,
like no one else.
I mean, it's like
not many people are making them. Yeah,
it is. It's like, what's the other like the most iconic Western other than this one that is like super contemporary is probably fucking Django Unchained, the Tarantino movie. Yeah, which is great, but it's like,
I'm curious what happens when you go on Letterboxd and do like westerns
Power
of the 2020s.
Power of the Dog.
Yeah, so Power of the Dog is the most popular one. The second most popular western of the 2020s is Strange Way of Life, the short from the Pedro Almodovar.
Yeah, the Almodovar.
So like that's where we're at in terms of popularity. I mean,
the Almodovar short's really bad. Not really bad, but it's bad.
Number 6. Like,
the Eastwood.
Yeah. And then 2010's most popular is Django Unchained. And number 2 is The Revenant, which that's
The Revenant is like a western because of its setting, but it's not like a western.
Right. I mean, Western and like the 2010s. The 2010s like have them though, but not really. It's Django,
like
Hateful Eight, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Hell or High Water was like contemporary western.
Yeah, like the True Grit remake.
Yeah, True Grit. Yeah. First Cow is Sisters Brothers, that movie that made like $12.
First Cow's like the same thing though, where it's like First Cow's not an action movie. Yeah, it's just the setting.
Yeah, they try. Like they tried to. I don't know. Hostels. Like they tried with that movie. Lawless, like it's like they make them, just I don't think anybody watches them.
They don't really make them that often though.
No, sure,
they don't make them.
I mean, not compared to every other genre.
The talent of Costner here is like so. It's like, this is a big deal.
Yeah, like, and Kevin Costner, like he's a Western actor. That is what he's known as. Like he does other stuff, but he's most famous for Dances with Wolves.
And we don't have guys like that. Like, we don't have like there's not Western stars right now because they don't make those movies.
Exactly.
That number is low. There are. I'm just like looking at it compared to other genres. Like in the 2010s on Letterboxd, there are 660 Westerns.
It's like
there's like for every other genre, there's like over 100,000.
Yeah, there's like no Westerns, bro. It's like, Bro, we got to go back to the fucking 50s where like there were 200
Yeah.
westerns every year.
Well, like in the 2020s, if you go to the second row, it's like, oh, we're already on like fake movies. Like these aren't.
Yeah,
like,
I
these
mean, what's
movies
like another
aren't-
genre? What's the other genre that would be like least hot? Like documentaries, maybe. I
War.
guess no,
It
there's
would be
probably
war.
a war.
On Letterboxd at least. That's probably the
Okay.
least. The next.
There's 2,100 war movies.
Yeah.
So
Well, war also it's just a bigger kind of
More.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's more vague.
It's a broader.
Yeah.
yeah. Still, I don't know. It's yeah. I guess you're right. I guess it is.
This is it.
Western at the
This is
time.
it.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing: the contemporary westerns and
television.
have been Taylor Sheridan. It's been TV.
It's Taylor Sheridan. Yeah.
Taylor Sheridan.
That's why I was saying this is like a Taylor Sheridan show. Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
the contemporary westerns are Yellowstone and the Yellowstone spin-offs, and that's it.
Yeah.
Those are and they're super popular, super popular. But again, it's TV shows. Like
yeah. No, that is wow, interesting.
I might watch Yellowstone.
Did you feel that way after this movie?
Yeah, specifically, I was like, I want to watch the Yellowstone prequel that takes place at the same time as this movie does.
Right. Okay. He can't be in the prequel, right? Or is
No, it's totally different cast. It's also the prequel is a mini series. It's like just one season.
Okay. It's not. There's not doing. Okay, interesting. I mean, no, I wanted to watch Yellowstone after this, but I don't know if I'm actually going to because I imagine like the commitment would actually get me bored. Like the thing with this movie is like
4 seasons,
yeah,
and it's
the
like
thing with
real
this movie is
seasons.
it's like
Not like
I showed up to the movies. I watched one long movie. I get to show up to the movies again like a month from now, watch another long movie, and then
easy
peasy.
Yeah, it's like it's not a TV show. Like I don't know that I could sit down and start binging Yellowstone and make it very far.
Yeah,
you might really get into it.
I got into this movie. I was like, this is like enough for me.
They call it the most addicting show for ages 60 and up.
Well, no, I was gonna say they call it like they call it Western Succession. The Succession comp gets
that's
what
I do hear that a lot. Do we have like a comparison for what Kevin Costner? Because it's like he's like not. Like, do people really know Kevin Costner anymore? Like our age at all? Like, would people even recognize?
Yeah, he was in Man of Steel.
Yeah, he was
Superman's sure. Maybe like by
Superman's
face.
Pops.
Maybe by face. But like, if you asked somebody our age about Kevin Costner, do you think they'd be able to tell you anything?
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
No, I don't think so.
People our age, I don't even know.
If you build it, they'll come, man. Like, come on.
Because like the only contemporary stuff, like he's Superman's dad, but that's Paul Kent is such a small role in those movies.
But he's so good.
Yeah, he is really good though. But then other than that, it's Yellowstone. And Yellowstone is the most popular show on TV or was.
He's on TikTok.
Is there like another example of somebody going from like biggest movie star of like a decade to like making nothing but TV for old people a couple decades later?
That is so specific. I'm gonna say no because that's very specific.
Sure. Okay, not like that though, but you know what I mean. Just like going from like huge like defining movie star of a decade to like TV guy.
Harrison Ford is the lead in one of the Yellowstone prequels. If you want to count that, yeah.
And he is doing TV now. He's in that show Shrinking. I watched Shrinking. Yeah, I watched that show. I'm very excited for the new season. I want more Harrison Ford.
I Met Your Muppet.
Yeah, Jason
Yellowstone is a contemporary show. It takes place in modern times. Then there's one called 1920 something, and that stars Harrison Ford. And there's another one that's like 1890 something, and that's different people. Yeah.
Yeah, but Harrison Ford is still Harrison Ford though, so that's different than Kevin.
Yeah, he's old. He was Han Solo. Kevin Costner was never Han Solo.
Yeah, he's still recognizable. I don't know.
He was
Superman. That's the thing though. Kevin Costner was never Han Solo. Kevin Costner was just like that guy in movies.
I mean, he was big enough for people to be naming their children after him though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
still is.
Yeah, dude. He was. I mean, Field of Dreams and Dances with Wolves are.
I mean, Dances with Wolves is like
huge movie, iconic movie. I mean, look, Dances with Wolves right there.
A string of movies where like every movie coming out was making like $300 million plus dollars.
Yeah, no,
like in the 80s. Like it was.
He wrote, directed, and starred in a movie that won Best Picture and won Best Actor or Best Director.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That was 30 years ago.
Let him make Horizon,
and then they wouldn't let him make Horizon. Yeah,
which is like what?
Yeah.
Did you like very Kevin similar Costner in the movie? I don't know if we even talked about Kevin Costner's performance.
No, of course we did. We talked about him being John Wayne. Yeah,
we talked about him being the best guy.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't say he was the best
kills
guy.
A guy.
You said Sam Worthington was the best guy.
No, but Sam
best performance and best character are different things.
Best guy, best performance.
Okay, so Kevin Costner's your favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, because he's Slick Rick, dude. He's
My
He
favorite character is
shows up.
Sam
He shows up, and immediately someone's trying to sleep with him, and he's like,
It's so
chillax,
silly.
It is very
relax.
funny. Yeah, it
I
is
got
very
places
funny
to
that,
be, lady. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Um,
And then all of a sudden he has a son, and they
Yeah,
give the
that
son to
stuff
the
is
they give the
that
son to the
stuff is really-
Chinese. It's like crazy.
Right.
That show
Oh,
is
I
crazy.
completely forgot about. There's a lot happening in this movie. Yeah, I completely
He
forgot.
sleeps with her.
Is she
He
gonna like
sleeps with
show
her.
up
She
again? Also,
leaves. He sleeps with her.
She-
She leaves, and she gives the kid to the Chinese people.
like, but she's gonna show up in part 2, right?
I hope so. I think she's a cool
Wherever she
character.
runs away
But
to.
she just dips.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's like
maybe-
if she's,
maybe
I mean,
she's-
she's
is
not
she-
gonna go to
Is
the
she
town.
dipping to
so
the
it's like-
horizon? Is she dipping
well, I don't
to-
think. I don't think so.
I assume she comes back, but I don't know.
'Cause we know that that's where
she's
she-
gonna be in. She's
She
gonna
wrote
be
a
back.
letter. She wrote a letter.
Guys,
Yeah.
there's 4 3-hour movies. I think
No,
unless they're
Do you
dead,
think-
we're
do you
probably gonna
think
see
the
them
son
again.
is gonna. How much time do you think passes in these movies?
Months.
Yeah, she's in the cast on Letterboxd at least.
Because
for part
I'm
2.
interested in these young kids in this. There's a lot of young kids.
Yeah, and like you're wondering if they're gonna get older actors to play them, like grown up.
I just don't know, like, because it feels like they're gonna have some set of arc in these children, but like one of them's like a baby, one of them's like, you know, a young teenager.
They will have to age up, I think, because the travel is slow, and I think that they're communicating that the travel is slow. Like the wagon stuff, I think they're gonna be like, we've been for months. And
Are they gonna
especially that
resurrect
kid,
the Stranger Things guy, because he's on the cast list for part 2. Is he gonna come back to life, you think?
No, I don't think. I don't think.
I don't think the
are,
cast
like,
lists are very
accurate.
accurate.
Yeah,
because
I kind of figured it was
Like
mostly-
Thomas Hayden Church, who plays Sandman in the Spider-Man movies. He's on the cast list. He's not in this movie.
Yeah, but it would be cool if he was.
He's
He'll be
going
in-
to be in.
yeah,
he's
going
going
to be in
in
the other ones.
but
Oh,
he's not.
okay.
He's not like he's.
Okay,
They like shove him in the
pittering off
cast
here.
list.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Um,
news?
Yeah, no, we got news. We got news we could talk about. You know, usual stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us on all our social media. The news is kind of boring this week, but we'll try to make it as fun as we can.
I'll try.
Starting with Deadline reports that Denis Villeneuve's next film is expected to be Dune 3 after lots of reports about whether or not it would be his next project. It seems like it will be, and apparently the script is being written and the cast is being locked in.
Here's my
so
take
we'll
on
probably
this.
be getting it in 2026, I believe.
Here's my take on this. I think everybody needs to be prepared to be fucking disappointed when this
Wait,
is
did
not
Christopher
Dune Part 2.
Walken die?
In
Oh,
the
you mean Dune Part 3?
Sorry,
Not
Part 3.
being
That's what I
up.
meant. Yeah, not being Dune Part 3. Because the report is like, like Warner Brothers set out like their info where they're like, oh, here's the plan, right? And it was
Here's
untitled
the plan, Stan.
Denis Villeneuve event film. And people are just like, that's going to be Dune Part 3. There was another report that said his next movie is going to be Rendezvous with Rama, right? So
And
it's
there was
like,
another report that said Cleopatra.
so it's like, we need to be prepared
Event
for
film.
the chance
Is
that
he
like,
doing the next Avengers movie?
no, dude, we need to be, that's not even Warner Brothers.
Warner
We need to
Bros.
be
Mickey
prepared for,
Mouse.
like,
I don't give a shit.
this might not be Dune Part 3. And everybody's just like, this is for sure Dune Part 3. It might
He's
not be
doing
Dune Part
Batman.
3.
Well, as I mean,
I know that's what Deadline reported, but it's like, it just might not be, I don't know. It might
Headline.
oh
not be.
sure. I mean, it might. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, it's coming out. I mean, he's gonna make it. Like,
Yeah, it's soon. I think that people should be
I
prepared.
just feel
to
like
be
it would
disappointed.
make. I just feel like it wouldn't. I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't make sense to go do something else. I'm like, you should just like wrap this up. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you
like
should get this over with.
you should just like,
remember-
you should just like do it while everybody's interested.
Right, sure, but like, do you remember when Dune Part 2 came out and he said that he was going to go do something else?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
understand
like,
what
yeah.
you're saying. Like, I get, well, that's why I said in this, I was like, it seemed like it was like the reports were that he didn't know whether or not it would be his next
if
project. And
Horizon,
now it seems like it will be. But
if Horizon is an event film and Denis' new movie is an event film, is Denis going to make 3-hour television?
What's the next?
Francesca Gardner, producer of Killing Eve, Succession, and His Dark Materials, is the showrunner for the new Harry Potter series on HBO. Succession and the menu director, Mark Mylod, will direct a number of episodes.
Why is this happening? Why is this happening?
You know, when
They
we
got
talk,
good people doing it.
no,
No,
no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no.
It feels like
Good TV
no.
people.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You think
They-
that the Succession people are the right people to make the fucking Harry
No.
Potter show?
No, I was gonna say that. No, I'm saying they're good at making
call it
TV.
hair succession.
I mean,
I mean that's what I was gonna say is that I don't know that it makes sense for the people who made
It's
Succession
so
to be
like
doing Harry Potter. That
this
doesn't
is
mean
like the
they're-
most milked we can get milked, dude. Holy.
Succession is great, right?
Do the milking thing.
No, it makes no
also-
sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like, what are we talking about, bro?
I think they just want somebody who worked on a
Oh, you
big
just want
TV show
money.
at HBO.
No, that makes sense, right? But it's like the
And
Succession
it's like
people.
the Game of Thrones people are taken, so it's like this is where we
Good
go
for them.
next, I guess. Like
No,
it's like
you wait
what's
for
a
the
bigger-
guys that are doing House of the Dragon and have them do. Actually, you just don't do it at all. Fuck, you don't do it at all.
Yeah,
But
I
if you
mean
have to
realistically, you
do
don't do it at all.
you-
But
you
it's
wait
like
for
but
the
from
guys
their
to do House of the Dragon.
But from their
Don't
perspective,
do
it's
it
like they
all.
got the Game of Thrones universe stuff. They need somebody who's not a part of that. The next biggest show on HBO is Succession. There's not
That's-
a bigger one. I mean,
That's algorithms speaking to you.
that's
It's
like
just the
that's got to be
Succession
that's
people
got to be the mindset, right? I mean, what like
yeah,
what?
sure, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, no, it's probably. I mean, it's the match doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they could make good Harry Potter television, but they know how to make good TV, so it's a star. Like
We don't even talk about TV. Why are we?
I just feel bad
What-
for the kids
we always
that
have
end up
TV
getting
guys.
cast
I
in
know,
that
I
show.
know.
We just talked about TV for 4 hours.
Yeah,
I have a piece
literally.
of news. I don't think this is very new. This is like came out while we're recording.
Oh, sure.
Um,
Is it
Sony-
Seth telling us that they have
Is it-
dumplings in England?
Sony
Yeah.
will gradually cease production of optical disc storage media products, including Blu-ray discs.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I just like zoned out for a second.
Jesus Christ, Kevin, be professional. We're recording right now. We're in the middle of the podcast.
Sorry, I just like something.
Will
something
you
just, like,
snap
happened.
into it,
Something-
man?
I think I just had a stroke. I just-
Sony said that they're going to stop making Blu-rays.
Oh, okay. That's what I
Um,
thought you said, but I just
What the fuck do you mean? What the...
I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, Sony said they're
Um,
going to stop making Blu-rays. Disney has already stopped distributing Blu-rays
Walmart
to
has already
Australia.
stopped. I just-
Walmart
Best
doesn't sell
Buy-
Blu-rays anymore.
We're
Best Buy
good.
doesn't
Best
sell Blu-rays
Buy,
anymore.
Walmart, Sony, Taco Bell. It's like I can't keep up.
They have them in Happy Meals. You think? You think they
Yeah,
do
the
like a
Taco
little
Bell Happy
Meal and
Meals with a little Horizon DVD in there. That's
Yeah.
how Kevin Costner is going to make his money back. It's all
Pretty
the,
soon,
the
these are going to
Happy
be the
Meals.
only Blu-rays we have. Fucking
What,
Twin
just
Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
no,
That'll be a real shame, isn't it? Just Twin Peaks
no,
Blu-rays.
like boutique, expensive,
Everybody's
like
got a
fucking
wall of
nerd
Twin
Blu-rays.
Peaks.
I thought you were saying that they were only going to sell Twin Peaks and nothing else.
Soon, this is all we're gonna have is Charlie.
Yeah,
and the
they're
Chocolate
only gonna
Factory,
sell
Willy Wonka.
The color
film-
of pomegranate Blu-rays.
They're
Yeah.
only gonna have Willy Wonka and Charlie Chocolate Factory 2 film packs. That's all they're gonna have.
Yeah.
No more Criterions or
Would they even have that actually?
no more Criterions or Blu-rays or DVDs.
Why are you doing like a
Pretty
John
soon, all
Mulaney
Blu-rays
playing
are
an
going to be
old-timer?
Martin
Yes.
Scorsese Award
They're
Cinema
just gonna have
Project
2
box
film
sets.
comedy selections.
It's like, did you hear that, Doug? He kind of sounded like there's a little John Mulaney in his
I
voice.
just,
Um,
I'm just
yeah, that
slipping in and
stinks.
out of it.
Our next piece of news is a Donkey spin-off film is in the works with Eddie Murphy returning to voice the titular role. I saw Owen made a video. about
Well,
this, I believe.
here's the issue I have with the spin-off movies for these cartoons is like the main one of the benefits of Shrek, right? Is you have like 100 different characters that all kind of rock. It's kind of like Horizon and American Saga. It's like you have all these guys that just appear for like a little bit, but they're cool. You like them. The problem with Puss in Boots is, I'm sorry, that death guy is not that cool, and everyone else is like
He's like not.
lame.
He's cool. He's not even in the fucking movie.
Exactly.
Like,
But with like Shrek, it's like, oh, Shrek, Michael Myers, Eddie Murphy, awesome. Antonio Banderas, awesome. And then you have all these like wonderful voice actors that'll just have like little bits that are funny. I just don't think Puss in Boots movie is like kind of structured like that. So I don't know. I think
Yeah, it
Eddie
didn't feel
Murphy's
like a Shrek
funny,
movie.
but the reason why those Shrek movies, especially those first 2, are so good is because it's a comedy movie that for like every fucking there's like a joke every certain like there's by beat there's like really great jokes.
Yeah.
I'm more excited for the Shrek 5 announcement, but I'm worried that I'm worried in the culture that we're in that kids movies exist in a way that those movies can't get made. You can't make Shrek anymore.
Yeah.
I
The woke
in just
mob canceled
the
Shrek
woke
and
mob in wokeness killed Han Solo. I don't know. There's a level of like kids movies used to exist in a way that like they had like jokes
yeah.
for like the parents and stuff. Like there was a level of like even like I don't know. There are always kids movies, right? But
Part
there's
of
a
it
level
is though
even
that you grew up.
Sure.
I'm like saying like as an in total thing, like just kids movies in the past, like existed in a way where like they had like
You are arguing right now that the kids movies when you were a kid were better than the kids movies now. Now that you're
I'm
adults.
arguing that kids movies from the existence of kids movies to like 2010 were different. There's like a level of like even like Star Wars or like any like Disney property or any like big like
yeah.
everything is for everybody now. So it's
Yeah.
for like nobody. It's a weird thing. It's like I don't know. Linklater talked about it and it's like Hitman piece, but there's like a I don't know. Entertainment
what
is
you're
in a
getting
weird
at.
spot right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Here's my take about the Donkey movie and Shrek 5 and Beetlejuice 2 and
I didn't. That's
a
not
number of
really
other
part of the news.
other pictures.
Okay.
Does it not kind of feel like that we're living in a fucking fake world? Like let's say like
Isn't that what Owen was just saying pretty much?
no.
Yeah, I was saying that we're living in a world where this is all we got, man. Two film collections,
no.
Charlie and Willie, dude.
I feel like that
all we got is Willie and Charlie.
If you like fucking were in 2015 and then were teleported into today, right? And you just like saw all of these fucking movies coming out, like just like the names. Would you not feel like you were in like Back to the Future 3 where they did like Jaws 78 or whatever that gag was? It's like it feels like we're not it doesn't feel like we're in real life anymore. It feels like everything is like a fake movie.
Because everything is fake.
But even as in concept, I mean, even if the movies are good, like if the Donkey could be better than the first Shrek, it's like the fact that the Donkey movie exists feels fake. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's better than you people.
Yo, what did me and Kevin do?
What do you mean? What?
No. I'd rather Eddie Murphy do this movie.
I forgot he was in that movie. I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, why did you bring up you people?
I just think that Eddie Murphy is a good comedic talent. I think he does well with animated characters.
And you think that he shouldn't be on screen and should instead spend the rest of his career voicing children's movies.
I think he would be good in like a good movie. I just don't think.
Yeah,
I like to see Eddie Murphy in good things. That's where I'll leave it.
I agree. Yeah, no,
I'll leave it there.
We should take advantage of it.
My big issue, I'll go back to it. I think the side characters are important.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Puss in Boots to me didn't feel like a Shrek movie. That's for sure. I didn't vibe with it the way that I vibed with Shrek.
There is no Michael Myers in that movie. That guy is a talented fella, and he was missing. It was missing that fella.
That's fair. Man, this stuff is never easy, dude. Kevin Feige confirms Fantastic Four is a period piece set in the 1960s and will take place in an alternate universe to the main MCU, similar to what Doug is talking about. How we're not living in reality; we're living in the alternate. Fantastic
if it's in
Four
the
universe.
60s, could we AI like?
Yo, what if we feed generative? Actually, so I watched there was a video talking about like fake, and it's also just part of like Twitter discourse, but to bring up too much on this fucking podcast. But I'm fucking cripplingly online. But so this discussion of retro, like fake retroism, and how like retro is starting to feel like we're losing track of like what the time periods were actually like because we're viewing them through a modern lens of somebody mimicking what retro was. And an example was like there's like this fake PS2 advertisement that somebody made that was like inspired by a PS2 ad, but it's like it's obviously like some people that don't know any better are just gonna be like, oh, that's what the PS2 had, that's real. But it's like, no, like somebody made this today, and it's like they got details that matter wrong that make it obvious that it was made today. And somebody also, they talk about the Sabrina Carpenter music video for one of the two songs, Espresso or Please Please Please, I don't know. Where it's like she's wearing like a 70s inspired outfit with like an 80s inspired environment with like a 60s inspired song. It's like, or like 80s inspired,
with a 20s inspired song that fucking sucks.
Yeah, whatever. The song's very, very good, but it's, what it's like all of like these different, just like grabbing of like different like retro aesthetics and like putting them all
kind
together.
of like what you're wearing right now.
It's like, and it's like kind of like putting like losing the
you got him. You got him. He's cooked. He's cooked. You might as well stop. You might as well stop.
I'm talking like Joe Biden on the fucking debate now. We're losing this.
Start mumbling like where it's like we could try to make out words a little bit. Did you guys watch the debate, by the way? Did we put that in our weekly recap?
I watched the debate. Yes, I did. I forgot to bring it up because it was.
I have to watch a recording of it because I missed it watching Kinds of Kindness.
I was streaming Dark Souls when it was happening, so I had to go back and watch the VOD. It was bad. Anyways, to finish the point,
do you have opinions about who you're voting for the people?
Yeah, can you along with Kevin Costner, please tell you who you're voting for?
What I was saying is like I think
drop who you're voting for in the comments below.
I don't know what I was even fucking saying. What's the fun?
You were telling us about why it's not too late to save Joe Biden's run for the presidency. You were telling us about your guest appearance on CNN about how we don't need to panic yet.
It's okay. He looked better the next day. He's hot and cold, Mr. Biden. He's hot and cold.
They were saying it's cooked. They were saying it's over for Sleepy Joe on CNN.
They're saying we need a new word
right after the debate. The CNN newsroom was saying we don't know how to bounce back from this.
It's so Jover. They need a new word for Jover.
I'm seeing clips on Twitter of Joe Biden in 2016 and them saying if we had this Joe Biden, he would win the election easily.
Oh, bro.
Next piece of news. Scarlett Johansson says that the script for the new Jurassic World movie is incredible. Quote, David Koepp wrote it. He returned to Jurassic Park after like 30 years to write the script. He's so passionate about it, and it's awesome.
I believe her.
Yeah, same. I think this movie's going to rock.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was blurry images of her.
I did too.
The what?
I saw a couple images of her today. One of my favorite actresses.
Blurry images of her? That sounds bad.
She's in a new movie coming out this year that we kind of touched on called what's it? Take Me to the Moon. What the fuck is it called?
Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
That looks kind of good.
We do want to talk about it on the podcast.
I think I'm excited for it.
I want to talk about it on the podcast, but I figured you guys didn't because it's going to be a week. Well, we can't because it's the same week as Long Legs, and that's not exactly a double feature that we could pull off.
We could pull it off.
Well, we have a guest on Long Legs too that might not.
Right. Exactly. Right. We're not gonna. No. We'll.
I'll call. Like,
we could push Fly Me to the Moon to a separate week. It'll be on Apple. It'll be on Apple TV a week after it releases in theaters, so there's no rush.
Yeah.
This will be.
No, Fly Me to the Moon is. I think it's going straight to Apple TV probably. I know it's an Apple TV joint.
All right, do you have any other news?
I didn't know I had to deal with the old
last
Apple.
Piece of news. Okay. Exciting stuff. Not really, but Adam McKay was developing The Boys film trilogy in 2008, but the project didn't end up getting greenlit. And he said it came down to it being 2008, not 2018. I just don't think they were ready for it yet.
Yeah, that would have been the worst movie of all time.
Didn't Kick-Ass come out like at that time though? Like, didn't Kick-Ass come out in 2008?
Is that kind of like reverse woke?
A little later.
It's like, you know what I like? It's like,
yeah.
2010, dude. It's like if Kick-Ass came out in 2010, is it just that people weren't ready for your The Boys movies, or is it just that your The Boys movies would have sucked?
Maybe it's just
what do they mean they weren't ready for it? It's like
because
Kick-Ass came out in 2010.
Little rat, all right. He's an alley cat and he has bad morals. I'll tell you.
Anyway, that's like my nightmare. The reason why I put this in the news is because I was thinking of like nightmare project combination, and I don't know that there's anything I could even create in my mind that would be worse than an Adam McKay The Boys movie.
Literally, the Ronald Reagan movie that is actually real.
I can create.
You mentioned that, but I I don't know
Oh.
what movie. I don't know what you're talking about. Can you tell me more about how
Oh,
you
yeah,
would have
tell me
voted for
more. Tell
Ronald
us
Reagan
more.
if he was alive still?
Okay, next week we are talking about the film. What are we talking about? I don't
Next
even
week,
know.
episode
The Ronald
74,
Reagan movie.
we are going to be, we're talking about Ronald Reagan. No, next week we're
Well,
talking
see, that's
about
not on
Maxine, the movie
Maxine,
of
of
the
course.
year, and we are
I'd
also
rather be
doing.
watching
Mia
Reagan.
Goth is so beautiful though, so it'll be
Yeah,
fine.
we're doing a mid-year
yeah.
recap of
As long as she
sorts
doesn't
along with
stomp on you.
Maxine. So we will talk about
can
some
stomp
of
on
our
me.
favorite movies of the year so far, some of our least favorite movies of the year so far, and
Yeah.
some of what we're anticipating for the rest of the year, including the Ronald Reagan movie. And we will see you later.
And